The feeling of uncertainty hit me like a wave stepping into that terminal on the warm summer's day. I was surrounded by people I couldn't understand. I was hearing announcements I didn't comprehend. I was completely overwhelmed in just 60 seconds. Willkommen in Deutschland. Hello, my name is Michael Moffat, and I am a dual enrolled student here at Valencia, and I'm going to tell you what it was like for me as an American to live in the German culture. When I was only 6 years old, my father, who was a computer engineer, received a job opportunity from the military to work for them in Germany. He's not in the military, but he was working for them. When he accepted, they only gave us 6 weeks to pack up and move, and it was a very hectic 6 weeks. We hardly had enough time to pack, so we didn't have enough time to learn the language or the customs or anything. We moved in southwest Germany, which is about the equivalent of our Texas or West Virginia or Virginia. In proper German, very few people spoke English. We had a neighbor who spoke English, thankfully, and she helped us, get used to everything once we settled. But it was more difficult for us in that case, just because of where we lived and how different German is compared to the northern side and the southern side. It is drastically different. Um, but I have many stories of language barrier instances. I don't really have enough time to get into the ones that I'd like to, but there is one that's rather severe. My mother needed contact lenses, so she goes to the doctor to get some. What she didn't know is that the solution was hydrogen peroxide, so she puts it in her eye and gets a chemical burn and has to go to the emergency room. She didn't speak good German, he didn't speak good English, he didn't really know how to convey it to her, so he assumed that she knew what to do, because I believe that's just how they handle contacts, or at least in that area, that's how he generally handled contacts. And of course, we don't do that here, at least I don't think we do, not what I've been used to. So that was a rather severe story, and for those of you who are wondering, she's okay, her eye healed and everything was fine with that. But that was a rather drastic story, so it was very important for us to get used to the language rather quickly. The culture is also rather different. I wish I could go into it more, but I really can't. Hands in your lap is considered inappropriate there, or not inappropriate, impolite. Elbows on the table is considered polite, which is obviously opposite here, which I thought was kind of cool because I was only 6. Sunday is the quiet day, no construction, no kids playing outside, no noise of almost any kind besides the church bells, which I love hearing, by the way. During any day of the week, 2 to 3, I believe, was the quiet time. It was somewhere around there, I believe, where kids aren't really allowed to play outside or anything. It's the quiet time of the day. School gets off at 12. Just little things like that. The metric system was a big one. Very hard for me and my family, but especially me to get used to. The euro was very different, especially at the time. The euro-US exchange was not very optimal, to say the least. So there were cases like that were rather hard to get used to, but over time we got accustomed to it. My mother speaks the language rather well. I am not very fluent, not fluent at all really. I know enough to get by, like to order food at McDonald's if I needed to, but at the time I wasn't really interested in learning the language, so I don't know a whole lot, unfortunately. I wish I did now. But looking back at the 6 years that I lived there, it was one of the most memorable times of my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, and I do miss it sometimes. And if there's one thing I have to leave you with, it's to always do your homework and study before you go somewhere, because you don't want to accidentally offend someone by doing something that you think is polite, but to them it's not, with the hands and everything. So always do your homework before you go. Thank you.